All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Overwatch Tespa Collegiate Series, and we just had an exciting match between University of Texas Austin and Georgia Tech. So that was in the southern region. Our next match will also be taking place in the southern region, and that's going to be Texas A&M versus University of Central Florida. Take a look at that.
So here are the standings from the region. Obviously nothing new other than the fact that we did see the Longhorns win in that last match. And Central Florida versus Texas A&M University. Texas A&M is one of those sort of titans of collegiate esports. Texas in general is very big in terms of its presence in collegiate esports, but specifically TAMU is really, really well known and has done well in many games.
All right. Yeah, so maybe we'll see like the Texas domination coming out. Like you said earlier, their Hearthstone team going 2-0 in their Tespa Hearthstone tournament. And they've also got a Heroes of the Storm team, correct?
I believe they do. And for all of their teams, like I mentioned before, they're really, really well-versed. At least, actually, all of the players on Texas A&M have been Diamond at some point in terms of competitive skill rating. One of their players, he's at 2,900 right now. He's dropped a little bit, but in terms of actual skill, that is incredibly impressive. And we are going to be taking a look at the rosters.
Yeah, we've got Yeezus, Hornstorm, Space Bacon, Punch, Hero Zor, and Mouth, General Studies, Electrical Engineering, Mechanical Engineering, Sport Management, Chemical Engineering, and then an undecided. It's the side of Texas A&M.
It's kind of funny that there's two Roadhog players on the team where a guy's name is Space Bacon.
All right, and they will be facing off against University of Central Florida, represented by Nanas, Chewy Chew, Agly Mogly, that's going to be hard to say, Emresic, Envy, and Brandito, Computer Science, Biomed, Comp-Sci, and IT.
So they got a lot of Comp-Sci, 3 McCree players, or at least that's their most played hero, and then Brandito, the Bandito on McCree.
Yeah,
that's part of the course.
Once again, we are going to be starting off on Lijiang again. Remember, this week number 2, the first map is preset, so Lijiang will be our first map. Yeah, taking a look at that composition, taking a look at the students and their general roles. How do you feel about this match moving forward?
Well, in the match in general and for the most of the TCS, I'm curious to see how these teams play. What we saw before between Georgia Tech and the UT Longhorns was a very combo-style, ultimate usage, team-focused game. But we didn't actually see that many flankers, such as Genji or Tracer. It was a lot more team-coordinated play. And I'm not saying that any particular style is better, it's just how the teams are comfortable. But, Jamerson, we're now into a new match. These teams, their styles could be completely different from what we just saw.
All right, yeah, we've got University of Central Florida starting off on the blue side. Texas A&M will be sporting that red. And we don't have any compositions quite locked in yet, but University of Central Florida considering the triple tank setup, the 3-2-1.
If Mouth were to go Widowmaker here, I would be very shocked, and we are seeing the 3-2-1, so we see Genji as well. Really different picks from what we saw out of the gate last time, and onto the Garden phase we are in, and these teams, are they going to mirror each other or swap? Nope, they're going around different sides.
Yeah, so Texas A&M approaching from the white room over there, while University of Central Florida do take the bridge route. Now they are going to go ahead and face off here in the middle on the point. And, you know, taking a look at the composition, Hero is in a great spot on that Reaper against the triple tank setup.
He is, but speaking of setting up and positioning, oh, nice reaction there to deflect the hook from Roadhog. Nana's not able to get any kills and actually gets stunned up and taken down. It's a 5 versus 5.
Yeah, and right now Texas A&M trying to push onto the point. University of Central Florida were able to take it, but take a look at that. Hornstorm with the double kill before he finally gets cleaned up by Brandito. Now the point is still being contested. Brandito's trying to stay alive. He's at 38 HP, but Yeezus, with the help of Mouth, will finish that off, and Texas A&M will flip it with only 18% taken by University of Central Florida.
Jameson, one thing I gotta say is the skins, the Halloween skins, we're actually seeing them in game. The Roadhog, and we saw Reaper before, absolutely awesome. And I'm jealous of a lot of these players that they all have them.
3,000 credits, or, you know, you just wait for RNGesus, but take a look at Mouth, gets tagged down a little low. He has to be careful. Hooks do come out, doesn't quite connect. Now, the Deadeye is popped by Mouth on the side of Texas, but he's not going to be able to connect any shots with it. He does get the flank, has to be careful. The hook did miss. Brandito finds the kill onto Hero, so now it's a 6v5 in favor of Florida as they push forward. might be able to push them off this point.
Both Hornstorm and Brandito have been doing so much work, and now that one Roadhog is down, maybe it's what they need to go in. We see Hornstorm getting a hook there, and right now Texas A&M, they're in the lead.
Yeah, but we do have the Transcendence getting popped, negating that Graviton Surge. The Reinhardt does have to fall back, even though he had that Nano Boost, and it's going to be Nanas that gets the kill onto Mouth, but Hero will trade that right on back. The Earth Shatter does come out with the pin. Will he be able to clean up a kill on it? No, he's discorded, and he will melt to Jesus. Hero does get slept, but Envy getting cleaned up there. Texas A&M going to retain control of the point.
And using that ultimate there too. Oh no! Goodbye! He doesn't even look as the Zarya just drops to the ground.
No, that was straight out of an action movie there. He confirmed the kill and walked away. So now Texas A&M 65% on the board. Florida looking like they want to approach from the opposite end of the map. So Texas A&M are going to reposition themselves.
There was a swap up. Brandito has swapped the Tracer, and he's doing a little bit of damage on the backside, but he is being contested by the Roadhog, and they're all going through White Room again here. They have Sound Barrier to work with. The ultimate on Ana is going to be up soon, but that is going to be the first frag over to Malf as he takes down Brandito, and it's a 5v6. There goes the Graviton. Yeah,
Graviton Surge along with the Death Blossom. Hero picking up 2 kills. That's an easy engage for Texas A&M. It should be an easier cleanup for them. Malf finishing off Nanas 94-95. Texas A&M are going to secure their first point.
Don't think there's any way for anyone to contest, and that is going to be it. So Texas A&M finding the Garden. We are going to go either to the Control Center or onto the Night Market. And I think Texas A&M is probably feeling pretty good. I mean, that was a pretty clean game. It was 33% over to UCF, but Texas A&M had control for most of the game, and they were controlling the aggression and the positioning. They were responding really well to what UCF was trying to do.
Yeah, and it was actually UCF that were playing really reactionary, picking up that Tracer. Unfortunately for Brandito, nothing really came of it. He wasn't able to farm that Pulse Bomb, make the hero play, and so now Brandito is going to go back to that comfort pick of that Roadhog for Florida.
It's what we saw before. It was pretty effective too, honestly. Brandito had a lot of good hooks and a lot of cool kills, but will it be enough now? So a Reaper and a Roadhog for Texas A&M. That's the double shotgun composition against a triple tank composition. Is kind of a mismatch in favor of Texas. Yeah,
Florida did switch off Nanas onto McCree now, so the Genji not getting the greatest value there for them. So they decided to go for this hit scan character, but it's going to be Hero that gets the first kill onto Brandito. So now 6v4 as Hero finds a second kill, continues to push forward, and he is just cutting a swath through this team, hunting them down, but it's going to be Mouth that gets a kill, and there we go. Hero cleans it up. Texas A&M convincingly taking this first fight.
Is he a hero or is he a monster? That was absolutely gross, just running through UCF, and for every UCF player, every time they saw one of their allies die in front of their eyes and then see Reaper, it was just too late. Oh, nice hook there onto Hero XOR, but the thing is, the Zarya shield and the Rayform Way keeps him safe.
All right, and Hero almost has his Death Blossom as the hook comes in, but he is saved by that wall. Brandito getting dropped real low, has to be careful. Here's the Death Blossom, but there's no barrier, but he does get triple kill off of that, and Texas A&M gonna push forward.
Absolutely worth. You lose your Reaper there, but you get the 3 kills. That means the rest of the team fight is fairly simple, and as a result, once again, Texas A&M winning a fairly clean team fight, losing only that one Reaper and holding on to a good amount of ults.
Yeah, 36% on the board, and it's going to continue to tick up. And Texas A&M, they've almost got 4 ultimates on the board. Hornstorm just needs to land one right or left click, and then he'll have it, along with that Graviton Surge 4 punch. So, a lot of combos ready at the go. We do have that High Noon getting popped by UCF, but he's going to get hooked and then finished off by Malf.
That long-range hook and then the confirmed kill from Malf. Hero XOR is still going off. Tracer on the point. Brandito trying to do what he can on Tracer again, but the thing is, the rest of his team is just dying, so even if he gets 1 or 2 frags, it's not going to be enough, and he gets taken down. Jamerson, this game is looking even more in favor of Texas A&M than the last one was.
Yeah, UCF definitely in dire straits here. Brandito switching off to that Tracer, but again, nothing quite coming of it yet, but he is close to the Pulse Bomb, along with the, we've got the Nano Boost and the Sound Barrier on the side of UCF, but there we go, Graviton Surge on Texas A&M, along with the Deadeye. Mouth picks up 2, but he has to be careful, has to kite away. The Earth Shatter does come out from the Rhine, and there we go, Brandito cleaning up with the help of Ugly Mogly. They're going to push forward, and that's going to be 4 members of Texas A&M down. That's going to be UCF stopping it on the edge of the feet.
And considering how many ultimates were used, Brandito was able to do enough damage to get his pulse bomb to 50% now. So he's going to be able to poke and try and get his ultimate as fast as he can so he can combo it with a Graviton Surge from Zarya. And for UCF, yes, they used a lot of resources there, but they had to do it, and they won the team fight. So now if they can poke around a little bit, delay an aggressive move from Texas A&M, they can stall to get their ultis back.
All right, Hero is sitting on this Death Blossom as they push forward. Graviton Surge comes out. Here's the Death Blossom. Oh, mostly eaten up by that shield, and Ugly Mogly will clean him up. So now 6v5 in favor of University of Central Florida, but Ugly Mogly comes in, picks up a kill before he goes down, and it looks like UCF are going to be able to retain control as that Lucio gets left.
And I want to bring this back to Ugly Mogly on this Reinhardt. He has a 73.7% win rate after nearly 20 games. So really, really high win rate on this Reinhardt, and as we've seen so far in this series, he's done a really good job of not only protecting his team when he needs to, for example, when he was up against that Death Blossom, but also going aggressive when he has to.
All right, so nearly 60% on the board for UCF as Texas A&M make their next approach. They are going to be approaching from what looks like the middle portion of the map again. Brandito in the back line has to be careful as Hero is there to try and counter him. Now it looks like they're ready to push in. We do have that Deadeye for Nanas. We'll see if he'll be able to pick up any kills. The hook comes out, but Ugly Mogly will stay alive. Mresik will get the kill onto Hero, so now here's the High Noon. He picks up 1 kill, but it's Ugly Mogly cleaning up for his team again. Nanas pushes forward, gets a left click down, and that's another great hold coming out from Florida.
And for Texas A&M to get onto this point, it's not that easy, especially when the tanks and the DPS are so separate. We saw the Deadeye from range there. Nanas was pretty much untouched while he used it. The Reinhardt boosted again by the Ana was going very, very aggressive. Oh, first frag though onto Bandito makes this a 5v6.
And Ugly Mogly with a great charge goes in. Transcendence is popped by Texas A&M. Will they be able to push them back? Transcendence is about to wear off, and take a look at that. Another charge coming up from Ugly Mogly. He does get cleaned up by Hornstorm. Yeezus finding a kill onto Envy. And Mresik trying to find this kill. There we go. It's going to be Nanas actually. Finds the left clicks, gets a second kill onto Hornstorm. And that's going to be University of Central Florida forcing them off. And no one's going to be able to get on the point. So they'll tie it up 1-1 here on Lijiang Towers.
Very nicely done by UCF to come back here. And now sort of the ball's in Texas A&M's court. These sorts of maps are very momentum-based because you can go back and forth, and if your team gets a dominating victory, but then the enemy team comes back, that can sometimes mess with your psyche a little bit. You're like, oh crap, you know, these guys aren't as easy or aren't as free as we thought they would be.
Yeah, we'll see how they handle the pressure as we are moving on to the command center portion of Lijiang Towers. Now, with the composition coming out from UCF, I'm surprised that they're not trying to run a Reaper themselves with that Ana, but I think they've been doing a pretty decent job so far. And now we do have Hornstorm sticking on to that Roadhog. He's had some good hooks. Unfortunately, the follow-up just wasn't quite there as they were pushing in. Now Brandito on this Tracer, trying to get on to the Roadhog. Does get some good ulti charge, but unfortunately, you know, the damage isn't going to stick there as he is able to self-sustain.
Yeah, Brandito just going as Tracer initially right now is probably a good idea though, because he's able to dart in back and forth, and build up his ultimate very quickly. Tracer can snowball very heavily off of that early ultimate she builds.
Yeah, these hooks missing barely by inches off of Hornstorm. Now again, Brandito in the back line, but he will clean up Brandito. Hornstorm will with that Roadhog. Great counter to that Tracer if he can land that hook. And right now, with the man disadvantage, it's going to be in favor of Texas A&M as they push forward. Hornstorm getting another kill onto Ugly Mogly, and here we go. Hero again, just hunting down these last final kills. And that's going to be a great team fight coming out of Texas A&M.
It started off of Hornstorm landing an awesome hook onto the Tracer, making that a 5v6 fight, taking a very pesky DPS hero away from the University of Central Florida, and then they won the team fight just systematically running the enemy down like we saw before when Hero XOR was just chasing down the immobile heroes. So Nanas is trying to get out to the point with a Deadeye, picks up 1.
Yeah, he gets the kill onto Hornstorm, so that's the tank down. Now, oh, answered right back by Nanas, but Malf will find the left clicks onto Ugly Mogly. They are at a disadvantage. They have to fall back as Malf pushes forward. So Texas A&M just able to push them back, and University of Central Florida, instead of bleeding, they decide to fall back and just wait for the respawns. Great decision from them.
It is. You don't want to try and fight a losing battle, especially because you're going to be giving your opponent ultimate percentage. It's not going to go well for you unless you make an absolute miracle play. Sound Barrier as well as Nano Charge coming in.
Yeah, Transcendence is popped on the side of Central Florida here as the Reinhardt Nano Boost comes in. There's the Graviton Surge. It lands onto 2. Yeezus finds 2 kills, and now it's Hero pushing forward, getting the kill onto Envy, and Ugly Mugly getting Zerg there. And he's gonna get taken out by Hero. So another great hold coming out from Texas A&M.
Another great hold, and Central Florida used both of their support ultis. Depends on who you ask, but support ultimates are considered some of the more important and valuable ultimates in the game. And the fact that for what could be the last fight, they don't have them available is definitely not a good thing.
Yeah, 90% on the board for Texas A&M. This might be Central Florida's last opportunity, but look at this flank. Is the hook gonna come out? Oh, he misses it barely onto Envy, and Brandito finds the kill onto Punch. So now man advantage in favor of Central Florida as the Earth Shatter comes out, but Ugly Mugly, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to land that. The hook does come out from Hornstorm, but Envy will clean him up. The Deadeye is popped by Texas A&M, but unfortunately it does not land on any members. So Central Florida keeping the point alive. It is in overtime. If any member falls off right now, and Mresek finding the kill onto Space Bacon, it'll just be all over. Brandito still on this Tracer. He's such a thorn in the side of Texas A&M.
Texas A&M have a few members here, but I think Central Florida is going to be able to take it. Nano boosted Tracer just going to try and clean up anything she can, and she finds 1, finds 2. Brandito getting those frags, eventually gets taken down by Hornstorm, but that is Central Florida finding the point for the first time in this game.
Yeah, they were on the verge of losing this point, but somehow they were able to scrap back, and it was a real back and forth match between these two teams. But Brandito doing such a great job of pulling attention away from the front line and being a constant thorn in that back line there. And we do have the whole hog on Hornstorm. We got 3 ultis actually for Texas A&M, while Central Florida only have 2 to work with, and that's the Pulse Bomb along with the Sound Barrier.
Well, look at the positioning here from Brandito. He can get a pretty good stick. Doesn't actually land the stick though, but here comes Hero. Gets the first frag, looking for Nanas. Finds that as well.
And he's going to continue to hunt down. He almost got that Zarya, but the Zarya will make it to safety. The hook comes out. Hornstorm finds a kill onto Chewy Chew, and Texas A&M ready to close out this point.
They're going to close it out for sure. No one is even close from Central Florida, and you got to give credit where credit is due. That was a really nice comeback fight, and they were able to push it into overtime and then get the point, but that is going to be another map over to Texas A&M. They're 1 game away from winning Lijiang Tower and going 1-0 up in this series.
Yeah, this is a really close back and forth match between these two teams, and we've been seeing that. It seems to be a motif of the day. Currently, you know, all of our competitors started off the day at 1-0, and now we're seeing the people actually pull ahead. You know, we saw UT Austin pulling ahead. We'll see if Texas A&M can do the same.
Specifically to use stats actually between these two teams and talking about how close the two teams are, their average team rating has a difference of 10.
Oh, wow.
And competitive amongst the 12 players. So you're right. These guys are really, really close, and we've seen that go actually apply in practice here in the head-to-head. And now we are back to the Garden phase, and once again, teams opposite sides.
Yeah, Nanas did pick up that Genji though, and he seems to be getting some decent damage down. He's already at 20% to his ulti charge, so now at 40, wow. As they funnel in through that choke point, he's getting so much damage off. Hero tries to find a kill, but it's going to be Punch actually that comes in for the kill on the side of Texas A&M. Now they're going to continue to push forward here. But this Roadhog not quite landing the shot through the shield, but he will clean up Ugly Mugly. Envy finds a kill onto Melf.
That's a new strat. You bait out the charge and then survive through it, and your allies kill the Reinhardt. We do see Hornstorm going to sleep, and Nana's got his ultimate so fast, like you mentioned before, that he finds 2 frags so far, but he is one of the only remaining members of UCF on the point right now. Are they going to be able to fight back, take down Texas A&M? I think they might be, because Brandito just got 2.
Yeah, now he's hunting down this Lucio, and with the Lucio going down, Texas A&M only able to secure 22% before Central Florida take it.
That was so clutch, exactly like you mentioned. Nanas was able to line up those Genji shurikens early on very, very simply, and Genji, his ultimate doesn't really charge that quickly unless you have a perfect angle to fire from, and that's what we saw. And off of that, they were able to snowball very effectively. They have Reaper Death Blossom in about 20%, but they currently have Nano Boost, so they might just go for that early on.
Yeah, so we do have the teams engaging here, but the Sound Barrier coming out along with the Graviton Surge. Hook coming out from Hornstorm. Death Blossom getting popped by Brandito along with that Nano Boost. He will Wraith Form for now, so Hornstorm doing a great job of disengaging, but Brandito finds another kill off of that, taking out Hero. And so it looks like Central Florida might retain control of this point.
Brandito was able to stay alive through all of that. They lost their Ana, but Nanas and Brandito are still alive. Nana's close to his Dragon Blade.
Much better.
Yeah, Nanas, he got a double kill off of his last Dragon Blade, I believe. We'll see if he can recreate that. He is going to go ahead and pop it, but Transcendence immediately to counter it, but instead he runs to the opposite end, and Envy steals the double kill with the Biotic Nade. Hornstorm cleans up Nanas, but still, it's a 5v4 in favor of Central Florida right now, but Hornstorm is evening up the odds right now as he finds a kill onto Emresic.
It's a 4v3. Roadhog's still alive. When he's stealing, though, he's a very easy target. That being said, doing a lot of damage to Brandito, forcing out the Sound Barrier, but UCF, they're still getting point while all of this is happening.
Yes, 60 health left on that Roadhog. He's going to heal up, but Brandito will instantly shred him. He just finds the kill onto Envy, so that's some of the sustain coming out of the side of Central Florida, but there we go. Brandito, unfortunately, not able to recreate that Death Blossom, gets taken out, and Mresic is going to go ahead and fall to his death, and Texas A&M will take control of the point, but 93% for Central Florida.
That's the issue here. The amount of percentage in the lead that Central Florida has means that Texas A&M cannot falter for a minute, and actually UCF, I don't think they will, but in certain situations, you might even want to just try and force some enemy ultimates away. Don't use your ultimates, and then win when you have all your ultimates available. Speaking of ultimates, though,
oh, that's a great setup for that Tracer. Graviton Surge right into the Pulse Bomb. That's 5 kills. If they clean up, nope, Nanas is just going to be able to get away from here. But yeah, great setup coming out from UCF.
It's all about those ultimates. Coordinating the Graviton Surge with the Tracer Bomb. The Pulse Bomb is one of the simpler ultimates, but it's also one of the ones with the most payoff if there is no enemy support ultimate to try and defend or resurrect everyone. And off of that, I mean, Texas A&M, they still have ultimates available. They have both their support ultimates up, they have Reaper up, and Nana's trying to find something here, but he's taking so much damage, forced to dash away.
Yeah, he is going to go ahead and pop his Dragon Blade, but again, instantly it's answered by that Transcendence. We have the Death Blossom coming out, Hero picking up a triple kill. He does get put to sleep, finally gets cleaned up, but now it's all in favor of Texas A&M as they're forcing UCF off the point.
Oh man, Texas A&M. That ultimate from Hero and then the corresponding fight was just way too much for UCF to deal with. Nanas tried to make his ultimate. Oh no! Goodbye, Nanas. He's had a couple of flanking approaches and the cute attempts, but that Pulse Bomb is going to end it. A 3-man stick for Mouth. 1 man contesting, but it's a 1v6, and that's going to be it. Lijiang Tower goes over to Texas A&M.
Wow. That Tracer pickup coming out from Texas A&M really paying off for them, and of course it was masterfully comboed up with that Zarya. It was such a great performance coming out from Texas A&M. Take a look at this. Which Pulse Bomb do you think it's going to be?
I really don't know. I was so impressed by the last one. He actually was able to get a 3-man without even needing to combo, but this is probably going to be the comboed one. Gets a little bit of damage, dashes in, and gets that. Just lighting up red, the kill feed that is, with a 4-man Pulse Bomb. Very impressive coordination.
Yeah, so that's going to be Texas A&M taking the first map. Remember, this is a best-of-3 series in the Overwatch Tespa Collegiate Series. So we're just going to be waiting on, I believe, yeah, it's going to be University of Central Florida's pick because it is loser's pick. So, you know, we said it earlier, King of the Hill definitely did not look like they were uncomfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to go ahead and take it back. The King of the Hill map's generally a lot easier to practice for because it is so team deathmatchy.
Yeah.
Take a look at some of these hooks coming out from Hornstorm. It's more like Hookstorm, really.
Yeah. That's a good pun. I don't know why wouldn't he name himself that? It's probably just based off of the region, right? You know,
yeah.
Hornstorm, Texas.
That is true, but take a look at that. Hero was definitely a hero for his team on that Reaper. And, you know, despite some of the heroics coming out on the opposite end, they just were not able to match it on the side of University of Central Florida. Nanas was doing a great job. You know, he even switched off to Genji. Unfortunately, it did not pay off ultimately for them, but he tried his best. They are not out of the series quite yet, but they've got to have an answer for Hero's Reaper here.
I'm wondering if they should go to a different map type. Because I know we talked about control. It's not like the games were out of their reach at all because they did take a map. But in this situation, you might also go to something like a payload map because you have something practiced there. You have something rehearsed. You could go to Temple of Anubis or Hanamura. These sort of not commonly played maps in competitive play, and if you have your execution and your strategy down and the enemy team does not, you can definitely find advantages quickly.
Yeah, and we're going to find out which map Central Florida want to go ahead and take this to as we get into the game. Looks like, oh, you called it. We are here on Kings Row.
So Kings Row, for those of you who do not know, is a hybrid map. It's a payload, but you also have to capture the first initial point. Taking a look here at the first point, this is, of course, the Mandata statue and a wall. But Kings Row it's probably considered one of the more standard maps. I think it's likened to many other sort of... It's the map that you almost always see when there's any sort of draft in the map phase. And it's something that teams are very comfortable with, is played very commonly, and as a result, it might just be a comfort pick. You know, UCF saying, we want to go to something that we're the most rehearsed on, and since we play a lot of Kings Row, let's go there.
Yeah, and they look ready for it. They are going for a 2-2-2 composition, so they've got the Reaper, they've got the Mei, and Mei, such a great force on this map with the wall-offs. On the side of Texas A&M, though, we do have Malf hovering over that Widowmaker. We saw it come out briefly in our first match of the day.
And Jamerson, you and I are also very, very familiar with the offensive Widowmaker because we've casted a little bit of Korean Overwatch in the past where they have so many players who just play Widowmaker here when they're attacking. And considering she got some slight changes, honestly, I'm not thinking this is going to be a switcheroo. He might actually stick to this.
Yeah, you know, there's very little risk with running this Widowmaker. You lose maybe 20 seconds if you're waiting for those initial picks, but if you get it, it just boons your attack that much more. So we'll see Malf positioning here on the marquee. We'll see if he's going to be able to land any shots, and he just might. Oh, misses that shot just barely. Now they have spotted it out.
Yeah, and that's the issue. If you miss your first shot and the enemy team didn't know you have a Widowmaker, they're 100% sure you have one now. And instantly, Ana repositioned herself. Everyone went behind that wall. It's going to be harder for Malf to actually find a kill here, and he's going to need someone to walk towards him, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, Brandito getting a little too aggressive there, gets taken out by Malf, and now he's got all the free shots in the world. He is walled off, but there we go, trying to land his shot. We did see the charge coming in. Hero has to be careful, almost gets frozen here, but it looks like Texas A&M were able to force them off the point, so they've gotten a tick so far. Hero picking up a kill onto Mresic, and it doesn't look like University of Central Florida might be able to push forward.
The spawns from Texas A&M on offense on Kings Row are going to be so much closer than defense spawns anyway. So even if they were trading, which they're really not at this point, it'd be hard for Central Florida to come back. And because Central Florida just had no real way to stay grouped after that initial frag from Malf, he's still going aggressive. Look how far he is.
Yeah, and we do have a switch off on the side of UCF. Nana's actually trying to counter Widow himself instead of possibly going for a Genji or a Winston.
Nana's top 3 heroes in both Season 1 and Season 2. Genji, McCree, third one, Widowmaker. So Jamerson, he is definitely experienced.
Oh, he's taking this as a challenge, as an affront to himself. Right now, though, the payload making really good headway as we are in the streets portion here, but now it looks like University of Central Florida are looking to take a stand.
They'll have to contest at some point. The shield's broken. Here comes Reaper.
Yeah, that was the nano-boosted Reaper. He pushes forward. He doesn't have any ulti there, and he's going to go ahead and get CC'd, and he's immediately melted. It's going to be Chewy that actually picks up the kill. It's a 1-for-1 trade as Ugly Mugly did go down. Graviton Surge, no follow-up on the side of UCF. So now this payload continues to push forward. Brandito is actually going to be the recipient of the nano boost, but he's not able to get the damage across, unfortunately, but that does scare them off. Malf finding the kill onto Envy, though.
Malf hasn't gone down just yet. Offensive sound barrier has been used. There is going to be a Widowmaker on the right side that's a little bit out. Malf is probably just trying to stay alive so he can get his ultimate. Oh, he's hunting for Nanas right now.
Yeah, and now payload getting contested. Malf lands a nice body shot, but it's going to be punched. That takes out Nanas on the other end. So Malf, still very little pressure in the back. He's getting all the shots off that he wants. We've got the Earth Shatter coming out from Texas A&M. Hero finds a kill onto Brandito. Graviton Surge to try and counter, but it doesn't matter as Hero continues to push forward. Gets the kill onto Ogly Mogly, and that's going to be Texas A&M securing that checkpoint.
And Texas A&M have been blazing through Kings Row. Speaking of being on fire, ladies and gentlemen, his name is Mouth.
Yeah, Mouth winning these Widow versus Widowmaker battles, and he does have Heaven control here. So he's been doing such a great job on this Widow. Now Nana's trying to counter it with this Genji. I feel like he might need the help of a Winston. He is up there trying to force him out of position, but Nana's will fall back. So now the payload making great headway. It's so close to the point we do have the nano boosted Roadhog coming out, and he's just running at them, putting the fear of Hog into them. Now the Deadeye pop Brandito finds the kill onto Space Bacon. The hook comes out, but it gets immediately countered.
Oh, man.
Nice right click from Hornstorm.
225 damage if you land that. Hornstorm bodying UCF right now. He gets slept, but he got the kill to Lucio. He's actually the last remaining member of Texas A&M. So unfortunately, a little bit too excited. He will not, and Texas will not be able to complete the map, but Hornstorm, and he is... dude's nuts.
Yeah, they're making great time too. Take a look at that. There's still 4 minutes left on the board. Mouth now, though, has switched off from that Widowmaker. He's picked up the Zarya. So we'll see how this works out for them. I think they were doing a great job, but at that last initial point, it's very difficult, especially when Nanas goes for that Genji to counter you.
Right. They were planning to use it for the first point, maybe the streets phase as well, and it worked really well. But at that point, you've got to swap sometimes when you go into different zones. For example, this third and final zone on Kings Row, and Zarya means they can enable a lot of combination plays. Speaking of combination, Zarya Graviton Surge used, but I don't actually think too much happened.
Oh, and Harrow gets onto the back line with the help of Horn, gets the kill onto Nana's Ogly Mogly. Looks like he fell to his death. Now it looks like, oh, the final hook missing, but that's going to be Texas A&M taking it with 3 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock.
3 minutes and 12. That is a pretty fast time. I mean, it's not the fastest I've ever seen, but that's a lot of time to work with. It's the time bank format, meaning that for UCF to come back now, they have to complete 100%. And then, if they have any time remaining, they use that time again to attack again, and we essentially reset the maps with the remaining time. Having 3 minutes remaining for Texas A&M, if we do reset, means that they'll have a decent amount of time to work with, and it's now UCF's chance to make a comeback, if at all.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. That was a very fast push. The streets portion of Kings Row here getting pushed through very quickly by Texas A&M, University of Central Florida. They're going to have a very great offense, but the defense right now, yeah, we do have some disconnects on the side of University of Central Florida, so we're going to wait it out, and hopefully the players are able to get back in. Remember, this is the second match of the day in the Southern region, Texas A&M versus University of Central Florida. Texas A&M currently up 1-0 against them.
The Aggies, man.
I mean, just Texas in general. They
Texas
are having a great
esports,
performance so far.
You know, it's there's a dude we have in the back who went to UCF, one of the production guys, and he's probably not too happy about that first map performance for his Knights.
Yeah, but, you know, they definitely have an opportunity here.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is Kings Row. They can force it into the time bank situation as long as they have a good push there and, you know, secure a decent amount for their own time bank. But, I mean, 3 minutes and 12 seconds to work with for Texas A&M.
That's the thing, is half the map went in their favor really heavily. And we could see a blazingly fast time, honestly. It's especially because this was UCF's pick. We can maybe see them come out with some crazy, you know, bastion offense strategy and just roll over the rest of the game. But the mental sort of security you have when you complete a map in time bank, it's very, very different from being unable to complete the map just because, you know, the enemy team has to complete the map. They have to go all the way. And then even then, if they do complete, there is the slight chance you have the advantage because you have more time.
Yeah, and right now we have Texas A&M, you know, on the verge of securing a 2-0 record as we move forward. Remember, the tournament, the way it works out, as long as you get the 3 wins, you will be moving on to the regional playoffs. So if Texas A&M can secure this, they'll just be 1 point away from securing regional playoffs. We saw We saw, yeah, University of Texas Austin secure their 2-0, and so they're also 1 point away. So Texas really showing up in the southern region, but we'll see if University of Central Florida actually have fight left in them. Right now, we are still waiting for the players to get back into the lobby, or actually back into the game. We did have 2 disconnects. I mean, that's what happens with an online tournament.
Yeah, it hopefully shouldn't be too long, just a couple of moments, and let's just talk a little bit more about the game itself.
Yeah.
Malf, from my understanding, has, at least on his main account, had very, very little Widowmaker play.
Mm-hmm.
Just from what I saw. I might
didn't
not
look
be
like
wrong. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, his rating is like 3,600. He's a master tier player, and that Widowmaker, like, holy crap, dude! It was recently buffed, and he was so effective on it.
Yeah, well, there wasn't too many counters coming out on the side of Central Florida. They didn't switch off to the Genji until they were in this boundary portion. They tried, doing the Widow counter Widow, but it didn't work out for them because Malf was just coming up heads up against him.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of using Widow to counter Widow because then it is a skill matchup, but it's also like a 50-50. And if you're so frustrated that you want to counter with the high skill cap hero like Widowmaker and you don't have positioning, then you're not really playing with your mind, you're playing with your heart. Which, in terms of picking brackets and stuff, heart always beats mind. But when you want to buckle down and seriously win some games, it's better to try and go with what you've rehearsed.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and take a look at Texas A&M's performance so far here on Kings Row. And yeah, that was the heads up Widow v Widow battle. Malf doing such a great job. Take a look, even the 1v1 Hornstorm getting that right click. It looked pretty bad for him. Graviton Surge. We didn't get to see this part too well, but there we go. Hero in the back, easily going to clean that up.
That was a two-parter. Not only was it Hero moving past the enemy and then wanting to take advantage of the Earth Shatter, it was also the sound barrier keeping everyone alive while they were stuck by the Graviton Surge. Overall, just the machine, all the cogs fitting perfectly and executing really, really well to give them such a strong lead.
Yeah, and honestly, these players doing a fantastic job trying to juggle esports and school at the same time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the players for both teams. We're going to go ahead and bring up Texas A&M. So, yep, we saw Hornstorm, and it looks like, yeah, that is his signature Roadhog. He was doing such a good job with this. And then Yeezus, I believe, was the other support player for Texas A&M. Space Bacon, also the support player. And let's talk about Hero for a little bit. His positioning on Reaper has been fantastic.
It really has. It's also been played around with his team, like playing around it very effectively. But the Reaper positioning himself, some of the flick shots, the tracking he had, because Reaper, he's a shotgun hero. So the way he does damage compared to a precise hit scan based hero, it's a little bit more forgiving. But as a result, because of that forgiveness, you have to get the positioning right. You have to be able to time it right. You don't want to be reloading while there's someone in front of your face, and you also have to put yourself out there more. So for Hero to take full advantage of Reaper's kit, he would use the Shadow Step to position himself sometimes. He would use Wraith Form very commonly when he was in danger, and then reset, getting that 50 health every time he picked up a soul with Reaper's passive. Using all of those in conjunction just made for beautiful Reaper play. And I haven't even talked about his Death Blossom use yet because everything else has been so astounding, like his Death Blossom use too. It's just all around excellent play from him.
Yeah, and you could see there was a lot of focus in him, even when the adrenaline's rushing and he's trying to hunt down the enemy team after a one-team fight. He didn't overstep his boundaries and made sure, he was reserved when he needed to be. He picked up the kill and then would retreat back.
And it's so easy. You and I know it's so easy. When you're playing a Reaper, like, oh yeah, I'm a beast. I just got 3 kills, and then you die or fall off or something, and then all of a sudden the enemy team wipes you. So to have that just mindset and to play it aggressively but also conservatively when you need to, very, very impressive.
Oh yeah. Now we're gonna actually go ahead and take a look at Central Florida's lineup. So Nanas, tried to go heads up against Malf's Widowmaker. Didn't work out so well, but he did do a great job on Genji. He had a few good Dragon Blades on Li Jiang. Chewy, of course, was playing the support classes for University of Central Florida. Ugly Mogli, though, on that Reinhardt on Li Jiang. I was very impressed by him. He was doing a really great job with his pins, find the right targets and focusing them down, making sure they're out of the fight, and then getting right back into the fight with another charge. Mresik was playing that Zarya, so he did set up some really good Graviton Surges for his teammates to follow up on. And then Brandito. Randito, he's a man of many hats. We saw him on the Tracer, we saw him on Reaper, and then I believe he was also playing Roadhog.
He was, yeah. It's so sort of DPS flex player. He's officially he lists himself as a DPS, but Roadhog, of course, is one of those carry tanks. You'll see players who enjoy playing DPS heroes and are also very good at landing shots, running that hero, and they're in a bit of a they're a little bit behind in this situation, but it's not like, you know, I'm actually just really impressed with this team, especially when I was doing a little bit of research on these guys, because UCF, they're, especially what their captain Nanas has worked with, like they play a lot of different stuff. They have strong players with flex, and that's one of the things that surprised me the most is with these players, like they're open and willing to playing a lot of different heroes, and they have very, very deep hero pools. They just want to do what's best for the situation, and it's impressive to see, and it's selfless gameplay, and it makes for a strong team.
Now, what I'm surprised about is that Nanas, the DPS player, is actually captain of the team. Is he also doing the in-game leading? Because generally, that's not the case in Overwatch.
It's generally not. Interestingly enough, as you're aware, viewers might not be, I'm the coach for a professional gaming team, Method, and that's sort of how we do it. One of our DPS players is not the in-game leader per se. He doesn't call strats as much, but he calls targets specifically. So when that player, that very offensive player is calling the targets, the rest of the team tries to focus it as much as possible. To my understanding, I do not know whether or not Nanas is actually leading the team out of game as the captain as well as also in the game, because you're right, generally they don't see it because it can put a lot of pressure on the DPS players when they already have to work on their mechanical play. But if that's the case, then that's, even more credit and respect to Nanas.
Yeah, so I guess it might have been his own call to switch off to that Widowmaker. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, I would have probably guessed that his call to make, and even if it doesn't work out, like if you're at least making calls and trying to get yourself out of poor situations, even if it doesn't work, that's very impressive.
Yeah, so right now we're still waiting for the players to get back. We did have 2 disconnects on the side of University of Central Florida, so right now they are really up against it. Currently down 0-1 against Texas A&M. Texas A&M on Kings Row were able to finish it off with 3 minutes and 12 seconds in their time bank. So University of Central Florida, they've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, so we are taking a little bit of a run through on Kings Row. We just passed the first point, and this next point, the second point, is generally considered the streets phase. So it's a winding road with some twists and turns. You'll see teams trying to flank through that top left window sometimes, and then the defense will try and defend somewhere around here. That's the defensive spawn initially, if no one has taken the first point. And then right here is the second point. You get the checkpoint, you get the payload to the checkpoint, you get a 90-second bonus to the timer, and then you try and go all the way to the end.
Yeah, and there's a surprising amount of verticality on this map. It does look pretty condensed, but the flanks generally come from above you, and we'll see Reaper plays jumping off from the right-hand side or the left-hand side to Death Blossom onto unsuspecting teams. We will see that often. We saw Hero doing that to great effect. Right now, though, yeah, that's going to be the final checkpoint of the map, and it is a pretty long distance, honestly, from the point A all the way to the end of the map.
It is, and to go back to the point you were talking about, the verticality of the map, on this top left side that we're currently at, you have the top side, which is called Heaven generally, and then Hell, and the top right, you have this window. There is so much verticality. It's a bit more narrow compared to some other maps that we see in Overwatch. For example, like Eichenwald, probably the biggest example of a very wide open map.
Hollywood.
Right, Hollywood is 2. Numbani is a little narrow, but not as much as I would say Kings Row. And that's in part due to 2 things. One, that's the map itself, but also it's the way teams play it. It's hard to flank effectively, because if your enemy sees you flanking and they know that there's a Tracer or a Kenji coming from backside, they're just gonna run at you. Like, tempo is very hard to control in this type of a game map. But honestly, Kings Row is considered one of just the most balanced maps in the game. I think it's very well designed. I think it's cool, even though there's a central choke point, as we see it's on the right side of the screen right now. You can go through the top side of the window. You can jump over the point. You can fly over the point. So there's a lot of maneuverability. Yeah,
even though there are numerous choke points here on this map, there are alternative routes to take. If, a Mei comes out and walls you off And so we did see some adjustments coming out from Texas A&M when they were making their approach. They decided a lot of them actually jumped out from the marquee when the May walls were blocking them off. And so that was a great choice from them. Texas A&M looking really level-headed here.
Yeah, to not only use the map in the standard way, but also create your own strategies and just try and take advantage of the map however you can is the mark of a team that's comfortable with itself and the way it plays initially, and then you just try and build that forward and then start creating your own identity as a team. I think it's pretty valuable for a team to have their own sort of identity and culture of strategy. You know, some teams are better with the combos, some teams are better with using multiple flankers like Tracer and Genji. And for what we saw from Texas A&M, they were able to perform a strategy that was likely for a few reasons. It's probably to counter the Mei. A Mei setting up a wall by that choke point is pretty common, and then those one or two people are just left open and screwed. And for them just to go through that window, I mean, it's a narrow, tiny choke point you can take a lot of damage from, but they were fast. They went through it. They found frags early. They had the Widowmaker. It was very well executed, and it was very cool to watch.
Yeah, and we did see, though, Brandito got a little too far ahead of himself, was focused down on that initial point when they were trying to push through the statue there. Instead, he was caught out 5v1, maybe 6v1 at that point, and that initial pick just allowed Texas A&M to really open it up.
And that's part of those different strategies that's the cool thing about doing what's not mainstream. Because if you and I are playing rock, paper, scissors, I know you're going to throw rock, paper, scissors. But if I, use a real piece of paper, all of a sudden, I out-metagamed you. No, seriously, though. You're doing things that are...
You throw a Spock in there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, Spock.
Scissors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's reference. I understand that reference. But, yeah, if you're doing things that people don't expect, then... How do they respond?
Yeah, that Widowmaker just came out of left field.
And the Reaper was positioned there initially before the Widowmaker was there, and he was probably thinking to himself, "Oh God, I don't know what to do. These guys are gonna kill me if running away as Reaper. Maybe he could have Wraith formed away, but honestly, that's that wouldn't have been a high success rate move because he'd never practiced it before.
Yeah, and he'd still be out in the open. I mean, there aren't too many places to actually get that coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw when Central Florida actually realized, hey, there's a Widowmaker, you called it out. They immediately backed away. They got out of the open ground, got behind the walls. And so that was a great move for them, but...
The Reaper couldn't do it, though. He was, you know what he was doing? He was by that little health pack on the statue. Because 99%, if you're a Reaper player, you know that you do this. At least you do this sometimes in competitive play. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't work at all. But it didn't work in that situation because even though the rest of the team was pulling back away from the wall, which is very smart play, the Reaper was just out there. And that's, fantastic pressure by Texas A&M to force UCF in that kind of a position. Yes. That being said, though.
Yeah, remember, this is the Overwatch Tespa Collegiate Series right now. We are in our match Texas AMU versus University of Central Florida. Currently, we do have 2 members of Central Florida having difficulties actually connecting to the match right now. And if it takes any longer, unfortunately, to keep up with the pace of the tournament, we will have to DQ them. So we are just waiting for those final 2 players to be able to get back into the game, and we will get the series back underway. Currently, Texas AMU up 1-0 against Central Florida.
Mm-hmm. University of Central Florida, it sounds like they're going to be trying and using some substitutes. So obviously in the TCS, you can have substitute players. Mm-hmm. One thing that's interesting, and it goes back to what we were talking before about what exactly TESPA is as a collegiate organization with both social and competitive events, community versus competitive. This specifically, the TCS is designed to be the best team in the school. So certain collegiate competitions, you can have multiple teams all enter the same competition. We want to see the best from Texas. We want to see the best from UCF. We want to see the best from UCI. And that's exactly what this UCF roster, as well as the Texas A&M roster is. And if they need to, they can get some swaps in.
All right, so we did have actually the substitute coming in on the side of Texas A&M. They've got Black Sphinx in that roster there.
Yeah, I thought it was UCF with a couple of issues.
That is... Yeah, I believe...
No.
Yeah, we just have the overlays a little swapped up.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
So right now we've got actually UCF on the red side, Texas A&M on the blue side. We'll get that fixed very shortly.
All right, so as of right now...
All right, so we do have the defense setting up. It's going to be University of Central Florida on the attacking side. 3 minutes, 12 seconds left. That was on the side of Texas A&M. Take a look at that composition coming out. Punch is going to be picking up that Ana. We have Space Bacon, of course, on the Lucio. Hero will be playing that Reaper.
I have a quick note, guys, from our admins. Due to time, we will be changing this a little bit. Obviously, there was a 3 minute and 12 second remainder for the time bank for Texas A&M, but in this case, we're going to be running it as stopwatch, which is a previously used rule set. There is 5 minutes and 48 seconds for UCF to cap this point. Otherwise, that's just going to be the game and the series coming out of the gate. We have Nanas on Genji. UCF got to make something happen.
Yeah, they want to make this happen fast. Here we go. He's got the high ground. He has actually got himself onto the flank, and now he's going to start farming up that ultimate, but he's got spotted out. He only got 10% off of that before he gets tagged up, but he does have an Ana to keep him alive. Now, we did have that Reaper trying to find that cheeky play underneath the statue there, but he was spotted out, and there we go. Continually getting the shurikens down, but Malf finds the left click onto Brandito.
Yeah, so of course, if UCF don't even get the first point, then that's just the game. But Jamerson, they're in a pickle because they have to end the game within 6 minutes, essentially, and nearly a minute has passed, and Texas A&M have held strong. There's a Reaper Hero dueling someone. I couldn't see it up there. He's doing Nanas. Nanas with 3 HP, and Kit's taken down. Hero just jumping out of the window, getting the final frag. It's a 5v6 for Texas A&M.
Oh yeah, nice charge coming in from Yeezus there, taking out Chewy Chew, and every single kill going the way of Texas A&M delays Central Florida more and more. And like we said, we are using stopwatch mode for this map, so they don't have much time left.
No, they don't, and as of right now, they haven't even been able to get the first point, which is going to be a really big problem. Punch is close to his ultimate. Space Bacon close to his ultimate. Malf has his ultimate available. Yeezus close as well. We see Nanas on the backside. Dragonblade, Ana, combo. Here it comes. No, they're actually going to use it on someone else.
Yeah, they're trying to push forward.
Oh, no,
we do have the nice charge coming in. Amresic gets the kill onto Malf, but Space Bacon will trade away.
No.
But Yeezus also comes in. Hornstorm gets the kill onto Amresic, and now this Zarya going to get hunted down. And things started off well for University of Central Florida, but Texas A&M securing that team fight.
Oh, that is not what they wanted. Unfortunately, the coordination there just... they could have had a really, really powerful Reinhardt or Genji or something. I mean, the Dragonblade Genji flanking while you push in with a Reinhardt Reaper combo is a very smart idea, but the execution simply wasn't there. And now Texas A&M have Soundbearer. They have Road Dogg ultimate as well, and they are probably going to have a very strong advantage.
Oh, great hook coming in from Hornstorm. He takes out Envy. We do have the sound barrier popped on the side of Texas A&M, but the cleanups are coming out. UCF getting cleaned up by Texas A&M. A minute 36 seconds left on the clock for them to try and finish this off.
And they are going to need a miracle to not only take the point and then move it all the way to the end in time. Because right now the clock is ticking down, and at least they have their ultimates, whereas Texas A&M is only close to the Ana one. They have to get a lot of kills with this.
Here's a Graviton Surge. The charge gets countered by the hook, but Brandito comes in with the Death Blossom. Unfortunately, he does get CC'd out of it. Now he's going heads up against Hero, who is forced back. We do have the nano-boosted Reinhardt trying to push forward. Brandito, ooh, dodging the Deadeye there. He has to be careful. Really staggered fight going on. Hornstorm gets the hook onto Nanas. He's been such an amazing force for the side of Texas A&M.
Instant hook kill into Whole Hog. That being said, Brandito getting boosted by Donna. He doesn't even need Death Blossom right now just because they were closer to the point anyway.
Yeah,
so for
finally.
Yeah, they finally get it, but that took them 3.5 minutes. And speaking of 3.5 minutes, that's how much time has ticked away. They have about 2 minutes to go on stopwatch.
Yeah, it shows 3 minutes on the board, but we are going by stopwatch mode right now. So currently at 3:34 for them, they have to finish this out in 5:48. So 2 minutes left to go, and this is going to be a very difficult task. They can't be stopped once on their push with the payload.
Ana is poking a little bit back and forth, so long as he doesn't get hooked, which I don't think would happen. That range is a little bit hard to hit. Ooh, Brandito, he's looking. He's actually waiting for Texas A&M to go aggressive. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, because one shot, and he should have his Death Blossom up. We also have Hero on the opposite end with his own Death Blossom, but no Nano Boost quite yet coming out. We do have the rest of UCF pushing forward. This payload not getting contested. There we go. It's finally getting contested by Texas A&M. Earthshatter does come out with the Death Blossom. Hero picks up a double kill off of that. Gets a third as he hunts down Black Sphinx. Now Brandito is going to get cleaned up. Texas A&M, great hold here on the streets portion of Kings Row.
And you saw it there, this speed boost from Lucio in tandem with the Death Blossom. Sometimes you don't even need a nano boost. Sometimes you can just roll over the enemy with the Death Blossom.
But 4 minutes and 40 seconds have already ticked down for UCF. They only have about a minute left now to try and finish this off, and it might be over soon. Texas A&M with a great defense so far here on Kings Row. They have to. We do have the Earthshatter ready on the side of University of Central Florida. Oh, Hornstorm finds the kill onto Brandito. So now UCF playing with a man down. He's waiting for this Earthshatter, but the Graviton Surge is going to come out on the side of Texas A&M. And oh, a nice 3-man Earthshatter will stop this defense for now, but Hornstorm will clean him up, and now Hornstorm will push forward with the rest of his team. Yeezus gets the kill onto Envy. They try to counter with that with the Death Blossom, but he gets immediately cleaned up. Mouth, having switched off to Zarya, gets the kill onto Nanas, and now they're just staggering these deaths, and it looks like it's over for UCF. 5 minutes and 32 seconds. They've only got 12 seconds left. Yeah,
that is going to be it. I mean, it's really unfortunate that Ugly Magly had some disconnect problems there, but honestly, Texas A&M did look like the stronger team, so that is going to be the 2-0 victory to Texas A&M.
Yeah, so congratulations to both of our Texan teams so far.
Yeah.
University of Texas Austin taking it 2-0 today, and right now Texas A&M also now moving on with a 2-0 record here for the Overwatch Tespa Collegiate Series.
Yeah, what is it with those Texans, man?
It's something in the food. It might be just all the barbecue, you know, giving them the right amount of iron and protein, because they look like they are ready to compete.
Do iron and protein help in
no
playing video games?
Does it? I hear like bananas are like the esports food. They're supposed to be a superfood for you when you compete.
Cool.
I don't know. I've heard this from many sources, but hey.
James likes bananas.
They're delicious for
They are.
breakfast. But yeah, we're going to actually take a look at some of the highlights coming out from Texas A&M versus University of Central Florida. Texas A&M taking it 2-0 against them. And yeah, Hero was definitely a hero this entire series long.
Jeez. That's done, and that was such a good hook from Hornstorm. Getting onto the support too. So not only was it a good hook, but he also walked all the way around, flanked the opponent, and then caught the support. And she was scoped, which means she actually didn't know that the Roadhog was flanking her. It was a really smart play.
Yep, nice Death Blossom here, and Hero, once again, has had a stellar performance all series long on this Reaper. I can't talk him down enough. He's been doing such a great job.
And off of that, Texas A&M, they're 2-0, like you said before. The Longhorns, University of Texas Austin, they're 2-0 as well. The southern region, we talked about it a little bit before, is very well known for just the Texan teams and throughout many, many games in different esports. And Jamerson, it looks like they're trying to make Overwatch their home as well.
Yeah, so that was 2 out of our 3 matches today. Let's take a look at our schedule. So first up, it was Texas taking it over GA Tech, Texas A&M, also defeating Central Florida. But our next match, we're moving on to the western region here. It's going to be Stanford versus Washington University.
It's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. University of Washington has some very, very highly ranked and highly regarded players throughout esports. iShiny, their coach, captain, and coordinator, is known throughout a lot of scenes, honestly, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how these two teams match up.
Yeah, University of Washington with a really strong esports pedigree, like you had mentioned, iShiny, 2-time top 8 finisher in Heroes of the Dorm. So the last 2 years wasn't able to get that title, trying his hand here at Overwatch now.
Yeah. He's raking in the scholarships, raking in the esports notoriety, and it also means that, you know, their clubs, the club itself, the Tespa chapter there is very, very active. They have a lot of community events with hundreds of attendees. Their social media presence, they have like 2 Twitter accounts with over 2,000 followers apiece. So really, really big scene. Stanford a little bit smaller, but dude, it's Stanford. Anything they do well.
All right, we are going to go ahead and take a short break, but when we come back, it will be UW versus Stanford.